Good afternoon, I'm Chris Polson, and today I want to talk to you about why right now is a good time to buy a home. Despite what you hear, there's a lot of conflicting arguments about whether the fact that housing's high, it's not the best time to wait for the housing market to kind of slow and to crash a little bit and then buy the home while you can get a cheaper home value. But today I want to talk about why right now is a good time to buy and to dive into the three areas of what kind of is pushing us to buy a home now being the best. I mean, we've all dreamt about kind of having your own home to either be a fixer-upper or go find a home out in the hills with like miles between you and your neighbor, or whether it's a house in the city where you can be within everything within minutes and fall asleep to the city lights. I currently right now work in the housing market. I work for Ivory Homes, and all disclosure aside, I'm not a sales agent, so I'm not trying to sell you on a home right now so you can come visit me later to buy a home and give me the commission. That's not what I'm doing this for. I just think that right now there's a lot of talk and a lot of communication about buying a home. I think it's good to know kind of some facts and decide if it is a good time for you to buy. Kind of the three main things that are kind of pushing the housing industry right now, which would make it a good time for people to buy, is first, there are just increases upon increases upon increases. There's a lot of things that are causing the market and the housing prices just to increase because of labor and these tariffs and other things like that. Second is there's kind of a housing affordability crisis in Utah. Right now there's a gap in between affordable homes and people that are trying to get their first starter home. And the final one is there's this major growth in Utah, and it's predicted to get more and more populated here in Utah as time goes on. So there's going to be more space there. So dive into the first point, the increases upon increases. The first slide I like to let's talk about some of the three main points. First, labor is kind of driving the market prices home right now. Because it's just hard to find good labor. We have the wonderful airport project out there that's going to take a couple years to complete, and it's going to be awesome for our economy, and it has been so far. But at the same time, it's also taking a lot of good work from the housing industry and pulling them into that area. And people are able to get higher paying jobs right now, and their turnaround's higher. So thus, keeping good employees around has been harder than ever. So in order to do that, we need to get the prices higher and higher to pay these people's wages, and that's causing it so when we're building a home or if a home's being renovated, it's going to cost more. Plus it's going to take a little bit more time too, because there's more of a battle of finding labor out there. And second, as you can see, tariffs, we hear about them all the time. President Trump recently has put one on steel, which really caused a lot of the prices for materials in the construction business to jump up. I mean, you think about all the stuff in your home that has steel in it, from anything from your HVAC to your, just the steel on the trusses and the nails, even down to that, it starts to bump the prices up. And that's just one tariff. There's also talks of many. There's talks of a potential trade war as well, which is these talks and these threats cause so people to react early and to put prices up on their materials already. And then finally, mortgage rates. Experts are saying that mortgage rates are supposed to start to increase as time goes on, and that's obviously not a good thing for home buyers. The lower the mortgage rate, the better for them. So this is a good thing to get into home now while prices are still relatively low. Granted, they are high, and that is expected. But if you can just stretch a little bit and get in home, you can really save yourself in the long run if there is something that come down the pipeline of making it so home prices skyrocket and making it harder for you to get into home, especially if the mortgage rates are higher and higher and get past 5 and start approaching 6%. We don't really want that, because then you're paying a lot more on your home than you don't want to be paying on that too. For the second topic about the housing crisis in Utah, just on this graph right here. So to start off is from 1971 to 1980, there was the gray is housing units and the red is households. So there was about a couple, 20,000 or so more homes available, then there were people that needed homes at that time. And then likewise from 1980 to 1990, and every year all the way till about 2011 is when it started to dip. And now, as you can see, it dramatically inversed, where the amount of homes out there is only about 1,100,000, and the amount of households, people that need homes, is 162,000. That is a pretty significant gap between the two, and this is causing it so right now the home sellers kind of can say what they want, because with so few homes, with such high demand for these things, the seller can kind of say what they want, which is causing it so prices are going up, which honestly doesn't sound like a good thing at all for a buyer or a potential buyer. But I kind of want to talk about how this can kind of benefit you as a buyer, in the sense of being able to get into a home now, because there is this grand focus in Utah right now about a housing affordability crisis, and a lot of people can't afford to get into their starter home. It's really affecting those kind of low income people out there that are trying to get into their first home. I mean, I'm newlywed, I'm going to school, I want to think about getting into a home at some point, and the fact that, I mean, there's not really an area for me to get into is hard, but the fact that this is such a push is nice, because a lot of these big home builders and a lot of these things right now, they're trying to think of a way to solve this, because this can get out of hand and cause the market to really have some struggle. So us in the home building industry really want to think of a solution, and right now the solution is trying to find things more like townhomes, smaller homes that can fill people's needs as a home with not as big of a lot as well, so it reduces the price of a lot and reduces the price of a home, making it so we can find that price range for the people who start their single family homes, which is nice knowing that you now know that people are really thinking about trying to pretty much help solve this issue and think of a solution for first-time home buyers to get into a home, and also people who are trying to expand into a little bit bigger home for their family as well. And the second reason why this is good for you as a projected home buyer right now is also the fact that it's kind of a really good time to buy a home, especially if you have an existing home right now. It's a great time to sell it, because you can sell it for a good amount of price, because people are looking for it, and that worry of is it going to sell is lessened, and you can get good money out of it. That's putting it into another home. And also, if you can get in, it's going to really keep the market healthy and also keep your home value high too. So when you do think about selling, it's going to increase your price. So if you're able to be into it for a while and start getting that price range down, you can really make a good profit on it after you sell it, after that. And for the third and final point I want to talk about is something that we've all seen and heard. If you've heard it in the news, the radio, anything like that, we all know that Utah is growing. I mean, just drive down I-15 from Salt Lake to Lehigh. I mean, you will see that there are businesses growing like crazy, especially out in Lehigh area, Utah County, where it's dubbed the new Silicon Slopes, because a lot of these big businesses and tech industries are really starting up here or moving into Utah, because they're finding that, I mean, we're hard workers and we have a great labor force here, but by doing that, they're also bringing a lot of their employees into, making it so we're growing like crazy. Granted, we have a lot of available land, but the one thing about land is once it's used up, it's kind of used up. It's hard to find new land, especially in an area that you want to be close, like the Wasatch and Salt Lake area. People want to be there, but land's going quick, so it's time to get it. It's time to act now if you want to get onto some good land. USA Today has said that Utah is listed as the #1 fastest growing state in the United States. That's pretty big, given the fact that there's some pretty big states out there, and for the longest time Utah has been off the radar, and lately we've just been booming. As it says here, I mean, in 1 year population growth rate is about 2%, and our current population is 3 million, just a little bit above 3 million, and we're projected to grow 20% in the 10-year population. That's a big jump in 10 years. So we're looking at 2028, we're going to have a lot of people come to Utah. And when you think about it in terms of house buying terms, 10 years isn't very long, considering the fact that most of the time you'll take out a loan for a 30-year loan, if not higher. So 10 years is not that long considered to a home buyer. So it's a good time to start finding the area you really want to be in, get a home now, while that area still has relatively lower prices for lots. I mean, right now, Salt Lake area, and kind of the Salt Lake, Holiday, and kind of East Side area, is just the prices are just getting crazy because the lots are so few, so pricing's high there. But if you go out to further areas, you can find a cheaper lot and a nice lot for you to have, and you can get onto it now with a lower price, and everything around you will grow. And then when it is time to sell, you can sell for higher too as well. It's nice to have the comfort of knowing that you are in a home when things are growing, and it'd be nice to grow with Utah as well in your own area. So kind of in conclusion, to wrap up a little bit, I mean, it really is it's kind of a scary time to buy when you think about it. You hear a lot of people saying, wait for the housing market to crash, but in reality, the thing is with the growth of Utah, with the housing gap right now, it may slow, but prices won't start to really get lower. They're going to they may level out and plateau, but they're not going to dramatically drop. And because of the fact that the demand is so high, that's just really not going to happen. And also in the fact that, I mean, you don't want to sit there and wait and hope it happens, and then end up finding out that it's not going to happen, and vice versa is going to happen. Home prices will be higher than they are now, and then they really are in trouble. And also to keep in mind that with the economy in Utah growing, it's a stable area for jobs, it's a stable area for economic growth as well. So things are looking good for Utah's just economy and market in general. And so the sooner you can get into a home, the better. And as I mentioned before, it is scary because prices are high, and there is a gap, and it does require you to stretch. But if you are able to and you're looking, I would strongly encourage you to do what you can and to really look and see what options are out there for you, whether if it's to go buy new, whether if it's to go buy an existing home, or whatever it may be, townhome, whatever fits your budget, whatever fits your need. It's a good time. The market's healthy, which is a good sign, and it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. So I wish you all the best of luck. Again, this is no disclaimer. I'm no sales agent. I just want the best for all you guys, and just share what little knowledge I have of this. And thanks for your time, and thanks for listening. And
That's really good.